Welcome back to Lorraine Reads to You. Today we're on the last episode that we will do from the book Me and Mom. And it isn't so much about Mackenzie's adventures, it is something that he and I observed other animals doing, once from the rooftop of our condo and the other from our backyard. And these two stories clearly illustrate how animals think and feel and communicate with one another. And I just recently read an excellent book on this. It's called Beyond Words, What Animals Think and Feel by Carl Safina. And I highly recommend this book. It's very readable, and I think you'll enjoy it. Mourning Dove in Mourning. Mackenzie isn't at the door to meet me, but I see him at the patio door. What's he looking at?
I turn my head to Mom and tell her to come see me.
What's so interesting, sweetie? I follow his gaze and see a mourning dove lying on the patio. Its mate is nudging it, trying to wake it up, but it looks dead. Now the mate is jumping up and down on its breast. CPR for a bird?
Why is that bird doing that? Weird.
I'd like to go out and get the dead dove, but I can't while its mate is there.
Mom bends down and gives me a quick massage while we watch.
Oh, here comes another dove. It flies around and finally coaxes the mate away. How extraordinary. Now's my chance to get the dead one.
Why is Mom running upstairs? Should I follow? Before I can make up my mind, Mom comes down with something in her hand and rushes outside.
The shoebox is perfect. I scoop the dove into the box and take it to the curb for trash pickup. Maybe that's not respectful, but it's the only thing I can think to do before the mate comes back.
I guess the show's over. Dead birds don't bother me, but Mom seems upset.
A little communication helps.
When squirrels chatter, I can't understand what they're saying, but they can understand each other. I learned this from sitting by the window in the upstairs potty room. The window looks onto a roof of the porch that goes from our condo to the garage. I'm sitting on the windowsill while Mom puts on her makeup. She notices me watching something and comes over to stand beside me.
Oh, that squirrel sees you in the window, isn't afraid to pass.
I guess I look pretty scary. We stare at each other for a while before it figures out I can't get out. It runs past me and jumps into the mountain ash tree and climbs down into our front yard.
I bet the squirrel is heading for Gert's bird feeder by the front porch.
As soon as this first squirrel disappears, another one follows, and when it sees me, it stops. It works up the courage and runs past. But it doesn't jump into the tree. It runs to the edge of the roof and looks down.
I don't think it knows how to jump into the tree. This must be its first time over the roof.
The squirrel runs a ways down the porch roof and peers over the edge. It can see the first squirrel on the ground near the garage.
Oh no, now it's on the garage roof. That's even higher. Listen, Mackenzie, the one on the ground is talking to it.
I don't mean Mom to tell me that. I can hear it chatter even if I don't know what it's saying. The squirrel on the roof must understand because it runs back toward us and jumps into the tree and down into the yard.
That must have been a mother and her baby.
Good thing squirrels can understand each other.
Final words.
Mom loves to take pictures with me. She asked me if it was okay if she put some of them in my memoir. Of course, I agreed. I have to admit this isn't a very complete memoir, and it isn't necessarily chronological. However, I believe I've written enough to give you an idea of what my life is like with Mom.
I'm sure I made a good choice when I decided he was the one I wanted to live my life with. And here's a poem I wrote that I like. It's called On Standby. Sorry, I thought I was dismissed, but halfway down the stairs, I get the call. not shrill and insistent, but a clear directive. I return as requested. Maybe you want to snuggle before taking a nap. I sit on the bed and watch you wash your face. Not snuggling? What? Then you leave the room without a backward glance. Silence. Then scratch, scratch, scratch. I smile and wait for your decidedly shrill and insistent call to come and clean your litter box. Now. You had me on standby. This concludes a few chapters that we will be reading from me and Mom. I hope you pick it up and leaf through all the photographs that we have in here and all the other stories that we didn't have a chance to read today. But when I was reading this book, I thought it was going to be for adults because of the adult humor and so forth. But I was greatly surprised when my cousin from Detroit sent me a photograph showing his grandson and his daughter-in-law reading from this book. Now, the grandson was 3 years old, and he was absolutely thrilled with this book. What a surprise. And then I learned from my niece that her 3-year-old and her 5-year-old request this book every night and just giggle and giggle about it. So you might want to consider it as a Christmas gift for someone young in your family. If you'd like to contact me, you can email me. You can also visit my website, lorrainesiegel.com.